By December of 2025, the number finally lands 1 billion. Forbes puts it in black and white. Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter is now officially a billionaire, one of only a handful of musicians ever to cross that line. The fifth musician, the third black musician, and, depending on how you count, the most powerful entertainer on the planet. The headlines focus on the usual stuff. Highest paid, $148 million pre-tax in 1 year. Third highest paid musician in the world. But to really understand how we got to this point, you have to picture something a bit less shiny. Picture a woman in cowboy leather standing in a stadium. The lights are blinding. A giant horse silhouette spins on the screens behind her. 50,000 people are screaming the words to Texas Hold'em back at her. This is the Cowboy Carter Tour. 32 stadium shows across North America and Europe. About 1.6 million tickets sold, roughly $407.6 million in ticket sales, around another $50 million in merch alone, all built on a country album that, on paper, should never have worked. Because just a year earlier, a lot of people were asking the same question. Beyoncé? Doing country? What could possibly go wrong? To answer that, we have to rewind. Fast forward back, or actually rewind, to the late 2010s. Beyoncé is already one of the biggest pop stars on earth. She has solo Grammys, #1 albums, a Super Bowl halftime show, but behind the stage lights, she and her team are quietly setting up something far more important than a hit single: ownership. In 2010, she launches Parkwood Entertainment. Parkwood is not just a vanity label, it is her in-house machine. It handles her music, her videos, her tours, her films. It is built so that when the big money starts rolling in, it does not pass through 3 other companies first. It goes home. Over the next decade, you see the pattern. Self-titled visual album, Parkwood, Lemonade, Parkwood. Homecoming at Coachella, which becomes a Netflix film instead of a regular festival set, Parkwood again. Each move shifts a little more power away from the old studio system and toward her own company. This is important because while the world sees glamour, the real story here is about business structure. Most artists get a slice. Beyoncé is quietly building the bakery. By the early 2020s, she is also building something else, a touring empire. In May of 2023, the Renaissance World Tour kicks off. 56 shows across 10 countries, massive chrome horses, a silver disco tank. Viral outfit changes every night. The numbers are crazy. Around 2.7 million people attend, roughly $579 million in gross ticket sales. That is just the tour, not even counting the concert film or the merch. Industry writers start whispering that she is only 1 or 2 tours away from billionaire status. Naturally, this is where most artists would relax, maybe play it safe, maybe repeat the same dance pop formula again and again. But Beyoncé does something different. She points herself straight at the place where she is least expected: country music. Enter Cowboy Carter. In December of 2024, she drops the album. The story going around is that it grew out of feeling unwelcome in country spaces years earlier. She is not just trying a new sound, she is walking into a genre that has a long history of shutting black women out. It is a risk, both artistically and financially. Remember, her last tour already proved she could sell nearly $600 million worth of tickets with dance, house, and R&B. Country is not the obvious follow-up. You have labels and investors who might think, why mess with a sure thing? Online, the reaction is split before people even hear the music. Country fans tweet things like, "She's not country, this is just marketing." Some Beyoncé fans are worried too. "Please don't give us a cosplay album." One comment reads, "I just want real Beyoncé." Behind the scenes, though, the strategy is clear. Cowboy Carter is not a costume. It is a pivot. She pulls from old black country and folk roots, works with Nashville players, and flips the whole who belongs in country debate on its head. The album drops and Texas Hold'em explodes.
In the news being like, apparently
Yes.
Beyonce thinks she's doing country.
Yeah, this
Calm
black
down.
wants
Right.
to play white music. It's like, what are you talking about? She's
Right.
born and raised in Houston, Texas.
Also,
You have
There
got
are-
to do street music?
Also,
like, what?
I guess a lot of country music.
It tops charts that have never really had her name on them before. At the same time, the business machine kicks into high gear. Levi's partners with her on a huge campaign. Vintage Western ads are reimagined with Beyoncé in denim and fringe. Stores push Cowboy Carter themed collections. This is not just an album rollout, it is an ecosystem. And then there is the Netflix deal. In December of 2024, Beyoncé performs the halftime show at Netflix's first Christmas Day NFL game. Reports put that single deal at around $50 million. One performance, on a day when most people are at home with their families, watching streaming instead of cable. It is a signal. She is not just a singer dropping albums, she is event television. By early 2025, the pieces are in place. The Grammys arrive in February. Cowboy Carter racks up 11 nominations. On the night, she wins Album of the Year. Her first time ever getting that award, after years of being the artist everyone assumed should have won. She also becomes the first woman to win Best Country Album. The same industry that once questioned whether she belonged in that space gives her its highest honor. Fans freak out. One viral post says, "She just walked into country, took Album of the Year, and walked back out." Another says, "This is Beyoncé's revenge arc." It sounds dramatic, but financially, it matters. Album of the Year turns a big tour into a must-see cultural moment, which brings us back to that stadium. From April to July of 2025, the Cowboy Carter Tour hits 32 stadiums across North America and Europe. On paper, it should be a smaller run than Renaissance. In practice, it is a laser-focused stadium strike.
Is upset is because she won Best Country Album and she won Album of the Year with country music. And, I understand that there were other influences in terms of country music, but one of the greatest influences has been the
About 1.6 million tickets sold, around $407.6 million in gross ticket sales. And that $50 million in merch, that is people buying hats, shirts, and posters that say Cowboy Carter, like they are buying pieces of history. Industry insiders later say the production costs are huge, but the margins are still strong because so much is run through Parkwood. Beyoncé is not just the star on the stage. Her company is the promoter, the content producer, the brand behind the sponsors. The back-end money does not leak out the way it does for a normal artist. While this is going on, her other businesses are doing their part too. Secret, her hair care line launched in 2024, taps into the huge beauty market. Sir Davis, her whiskey brand with Moet Hennessy, plays in the high-end spirits world. Ivy Park, her fashion line with Adidas, quietly shutters in 2024 after sales cool off, which is a reminder that not everything she touches turns to gold. But this is where the pattern shows up again. Instead of clinging to a fading brand deal, she lets Ivy Park go and doubles down on things she owns more fully. Secret is hers. Sir Davis is a partnership, but with her image built into the label. Levi's is a big check tied to a moment, not a multi-year drip. She is picking spots that fit into her bigger story. By the end of 2025, Forbes runs the math. 2 monster tours in 3 years that together pushed close to $1 billion in gross revenue. A Grammy sweep that adds value to her catalog. A halftime show that cleared around $50 million for one night. Brand deals, beauty lines, liquor money, and a music catalog that she actually controls through Parkwood. They estimate $148 million in pre-tax earnings for that single year. That number, stacked on top of everything from the 2000s and 2010s, finally tips her over the top. Beyoncé is a billionaire. Now, what does this actually tell us? First, tours are the engine. Streaming pays pennies. Even big album sales are a fraction of old CD days. But live shows? Those are still where the real money lives. Beyoncé's Renaissance World Tour and Cowboy Carter Tour together show that if you can fill stadiums twice and you own the tour machine, you can move almost $1 billion worth of tickets in 2 cycles. Second, ownership changed the story. A lot of stars have huge tours. Not many also have a company like Parkwood that handles production, film rights, merch deals, and catalog management. When Beyoncé turns a tour into a concert film or a behind-the-scenes documentary, she is paying herself. That is the difference between being rich and being a billionaire. Third, reinvention was not just an artistic move. Pivoting to country with Cowboy Carter expanded her lanes. Suddenly, she is eligible for awards in new categories. She is playing in new radio formats. She is partnering with brands that would normally chase Nashville artists, not R&B icons. She did not just cross genres, she unlocked new revenue doors, and there is a quieter piece to this too. Over the years, Beyoncé has talked about protecting her peace and her family. She does not live online like some other stars. She spaces out her tours based on her children's schooling. She says no to certain appearances. From a distance, that might look like someone slowing down, but business-wise, it has forced every yes to be bigger and more focused. If she is going to tour, it has to be a stadium run tied to a visual concept, tied to a film, tied to a brand moment. No wasted motion. So when we talk about Beyoncé's billion-dollar comeback, the funny thing is, there was never a traditional fall-off to come back from. The comeback is less about her returning to fame and more about her returning to something the industry said she could not fully have: ownership, control, and the last word. Maybe this whole era, from Renaissance through Cowboy Carter to that Forbes billionaire line, shows Beyoncé's biggest strength and biggest risk at the same time. She refuses to stay where she is safe. She jumps from pop to country, from major label systems to her own company, from normal brand deals to massive, short, high-impact partnerships. The obvious question is, where do you even go after 1 billion? Another tour? A movie studio? A full-on streaming platform? If the pattern holds, the answer will not be to do more of the same. It will be to walk straight into another room where people quietly doubt she belongs, flip the script, and somehow turn that into another few $100 million. Because if there is one thing this story makes clear, it is this: Beyoncé did not just make $1 billion by being famous. She made it by being the star, the boss, and the owner of the stage, the music, and the machine behind it all. And that, more than any tour gross or Grammy list, is the real comeback.